Krishna Prabhu, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Would you like to chant the prayers?
Yes, sir.
Ribol, okay, we can start.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sopadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagananadita Shri Vishakhamritamsha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् शृण्वतां सकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनारित्यन्तस्तोय भद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सतां नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवते सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Before reciting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto a personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance on the classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of God, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki Jai.
Jai.
From text 63.
Yes, Prabhu.
Text 63. यथा नमीयते चित्तम् उभये इन्द्रियैहिता एवं प्राप्तिवचम् कर्म लक्ष्यते चित्तवृत्तिभिः. Synonyms: yatha, as; anumiyate, can be imagined; chittam, one's consciousness or mental condition; ubhayai, both; indriya, of the senses; ihitai, by the activities; evam, similarly; previous; dehajam, performed by the body; karma, activities; lakshyate, can be perceived; chitta, of consciousness; vrittivi, by the occupations. Translation: Purport Vaishnava Gracious Yuktanand Sanship Prabhupada. Translation: one can understand the mental unconscious position of a living entity by the activities of two kinds of senses: the knowledge acquiring senses and the executive senses. Similarly, by the mental condition or consciousness of a person, one can understand his position in the previous life. Purport: there is an English proverb that says, "The face is the index of the mind." If one is angry, his anger is immediately expressed in his face. Similarly, other mental states are reflected by the actions of the cross body. In other words, the activities of the cross body are reactions of the mental condition. The mind's activities are thinking, feeling, and willing. The willing portion of the mind is manifest by the activities of the body. The conclusion is that by the activities of the body and senses, we can understand the condition of the mind. The condition of the mind is affected by the past activities in the past body. When the mind is joined with a particular sense, it immediately becomes manifest in a certain way. For instance, when there is anger in the mind, the tongue vibrates many maledictions. Similarly, when the mind's anger is expressed through the hand, there is fighting. When it is expressed through the leg, there is kicking. There are so many ways in which the subtle activities of the mind are expressed through the various senses. The mind of a Krishna conscious person also acts in a similar way. The tongue chants Hare Krishna mantra, the hands are raised in ecstasy, and the legs dance in Krishna consciousness. These terms are technically called Ashtasattva Vikara. This transformation of the mental condition in goodness or sometimes transcendental ecstasy. X64 नानुभूतं क्वचानेन देहानदृष्टम् अश्नुतां कदाचित् उपलभ्येत यद्रूपं यत्रिवात्मनि synonyms na never anubhutam experienced qua at any time cha also anena dehena by this body adrishtam never seen ashritam never heard kadachit sometimes upalabhyate may be experienced yet which rupam form yatrik whatever kind atmani in the mind. Translation: sometimes we suddenly experience something that was never experienced in the present body by sight or hearing. Sometimes we see such things suddenly in dreams. Purport: we sometimes see things in dreams that we have never experienced in the present body. Sometimes in dreams we think that we are flying in the sky, although we have no experience of flying. This means that once in a previous life, either as a demigod or astronaut, we flew in the sky. The impression is there in the stockpile of the mind, and it suddenly expresses itself. It is like fermentation taking place in the depths of water, which sometimes manifests itself in bubbles on the water's surface. Sometimes we dream of coming to a place we have never known or experienced in this lifetime. But this is a proof that in a past life we experienced this. The impression is kept within the mind and sometimes become manifest either in a dream or in thought. The conclusion is that the mind is the storehouse of various thoughts and experiences undergone during our past lives. Thus, there is a chain of continuation from one life to another, from previous lives to this life, and from this life to future lives. This is also sometimes proved by saying that a man is a born poet, a born scientist, or a born devotee. If, like Maharaj Ambrish, we can think of Krishna constantly in this life, Savai Manah Krishna Padaravindayo, we will certainly be transferred to the kingdom of God at the time of death. Even if our attempt to be Krishna conscious is not complete, our Krishna consciousness will continue in the next life. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. प्राप्य पुनः कृतं लोकान् उषित्वा शाश्वतैः समा शुचिनां श्रीमतां गेहे योगभ्रष्टो विजायते. The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets or the pious living entities, is either born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Bhagavad Gita 6.41. If we rigidly follow the principles of meditation on Krishna, there is no doubt that in our next life we will be transferred to Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan. Text 61. Tena satatrisham rajan Linginavateha Sambhavam श्रद्धात् स्वनानुभूतोऽर्थो नामनः स्पृष्टुमर्हति तेन therefore asya of the living entity patrisham like that Rajan, O king, Lingina of who has a subtle mental covering, Dehasambhavan, produced in a previous body, Shraddhatsva, except it is a fact, Ananubhuta, not perceived, Artha, a thing, na, never, Mana, in the mind, Sprishtum, to manifest, Arhati, is able. Translation. My dear king, the living entity who has a subtle mental covering develops all kinds of thoughts and images because of his previous body. Take this from me as certain. There is no possibility of concocting anything mentally without having perceived it in the previous body. Purport.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, what is the month chapter, Prabhu? This
28,
okay.
29, 29.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanapnam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanapnam to all of you, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Purport. कृष्ण बहिर्मुखः भोगवाञ्छा करे निकटस्थमाय तारे झपटिय धरे Prema Vivarta 6.2. Actually, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the supreme enjoyer. When a living entity wants to imitate him, he is given a chance to satisfy his false desire to lord it over material nature. That is the beginning of his downfall. As long as he is within the material atmosphere, he has a subtle vehicle in the form of mind, which is the stockpile of all kinds of material desires. Such desires become manifest in different bodily forms. Srila Narada Muni requests the king to accept this fact from him because he is an authority. The conclusion is that the mind is a storehouse of our past desires, and we have this present body due to our past desires. Similarly, whatever we desire in this present body will be expressed in a future body. Thus, the mind is a source of different kinds of bodies. If the mind is purified by Krishna consciousness, one will naturally in the future get a body that is spiritual and full of Krishna consciousness. Such a body in our original form, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirms, Jivere Sarupavai Krishna Nityadas. And every living entity is constitutionally an eternal servant of Krishna. If a person is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, he is to be considered a liberated soul, even in this life. This is confirmed by Srila Rupa Goswami. Vihayasya hare dasya karmana mansagira nikhyasvapi avasthasu jivan mukta sauchyate. One who engages in the transcendental service of the Lord in body, mind, and world is to be considered liberated in all conditions of material existence. Bhaktirasamrita Sindhu 1.2.187. The Krishna consciousness movement is based on this principle. We must teach people to absorb themselves always in the service of the Lord, because that position is their natural position. Prabhu, just a minute, I'll come back.
So, Prabhu, may I complete this first? Me, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu, you can read. I can read the next one.
Okay, sir. The Krishna conscious movement is based on this principle. You must teach people to absorb themselves always in the service of the Lord because that position is their native position. One who is always serving the Lord is to be considered already. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. मामजे योग्य विचारेण भक्ति योगेन सेवते सगुणान् समतीतान् ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not go down in any circumstances, at once transcending the most of my great nature, and thus comes to the development. The devotee is for a bhakta remote of material nature and given transcendental to Brahmana platform. Brahmana may be infected by the two basal moods, namely Rajagun and Tamagun. Pure, yes, so full, yes, and pure, so more is full up. Devotee who speaks to more might be required experience on mental platform and who is always also free from psychological situations or productivity always work might feel condition and is always created. Thank you so much. Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhu. 666. मन एव स मनुष्यस्य पूर्वारूपाणि संशयति भविष्यतश्च भद्रं ते तथैव न भविष्यता. Synonyms: Mana, the mind; eva, certainly; manushasya, of a man; purva, past; rupani, forms; samshati, indicates; bhavishyata, of one who will take birth; cha, also; bhadram, good fortune; te, unto you; tatha, thus; eva, certainly; na, not; bhavishyata, of one who will take birth. Translation: O king, all good fortune unto you. The mind is the cause of living entities attaining a certain type of body, in accordance with its association with material nature. According to one's mental composition, one can understand understand what the living entity was in his past life as well as what kind of body he will have in the future. Thus, the mind indicates the past and the future bodies. Purport: the mind is the index of information about one's past and future life. If a man is a devotee of the Lord, he cultivated devotional service in his previous life. Similarly, if one's mind is criminal, he was criminal in his last life. In the same way, according to the mind, we can understand what will happen in future life. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्ता मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसा जगन्यगुणवृत्तिस्ता अधो गच्छन्ति तामसा. Those situated in the modes of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. Bhagavad Gita 14.18. If a person is in the mode of goodness, his mental activities will promote him to a higher planetary system. Similarly, if he has a low mentality, his future will be most abominable. The lives of a living entity in both past and future are indicated by the mental condition. Narada Muni is herein offering the king blessings of all good fortune, so that the king will not desire anything or make plans for sense gratification. The king was engaged in furtive ritualistic ceremonies because he hoped to get a better life in the future. Narada Muni desired him to give up all mental concoctions. As explained before, all bodies in the heavenly planets and hellish planets arise from mental concoctions, and the sufferings and enjoyments of material life are simply on the mental platform. They take place on the chariot of the mind, Manoratha. It is therefore said, यस्यस्ति भक्तिर्भगवते किञ्चन सर्वैर्गुणैस्तत्र समासते सुरा हरावभक्तस्य कुतो महद्गुणा मनोरथेन सतधावतो वै. One who has unflinching devotion for the personality of Godhead has all good qualities. You can scroll, Prabhu. Of the demigods. But one who is not a devotee of the Lord has only material qualifications that are of little value. This is because he is hovering on the mental plane and is certain to be attracted by the glaring material energy. Bhagavatam 5.18.12. Unless one becomes a devotee of the Lord or becomes fully Krishna conscious, he will certainly hover on the mental platform and be promoted or degraded in different types of bodies. All qualities that are considered good according to the material estimation actually have no value because the so-called good qualities will not save a person from the cycle of birth and death. The conclusion is that one should be without mental desire, anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma anavritam. One should be fully free from material desires, philosophical speculation, and fruitive activities. The best course for a human being is to favorably accept the transcendental devotional service of the Lord. That is the highest perfection of human life. Text 67. अदृष्टम् अश्रुतं चात्र क्वचिन् मनसि दृश्यते यथा तथानुमन्तव्यं देशकालक्रियाश्रयम्. Adrishtam, never experienced; Ashrutam, never heard; Cha and Atra in this life; Kvachit, at some time; Manasi, in the mind; Drishyate is visible; Yatha, as; Tatha, accordingly; Anumanyat mantavyam, to be understood; Desha, place; Kala, time; Kriya, activity; Ashrayam, depending on. Translations. Sometimes in a dream we see something never experienced or heard of in this life. But all these incidents have been experienced at different times, in different places and in different conditions. Purport. In the previous verse it was explained that in dreams we see that which was experienced during the day. But why is it that we sometimes, in our dreams, see what we have never heard of or seen at any time during this life? Here it is stated that even though such events may not be experienced in this life, they were experienced in previous lives. According to time and circumstance, they combine so that in dreams we see something wonderful that we have never experienced. For instance, we may see an ocean on the peak of a mountain, or we may see that an ocean has dried up. These are simply combinations of different experiences in time and space. Sometimes we may see a golden mountain, and this is due to our having experienced gold and mountains separately. In the dream and the illusion, we combine these separate factors. In this way, we are able to see golden mountains or stars during the day. The conclusion is that these are all mental concoctions. Although they have actually been experienced in different circumstances, they have simply combined together in a dream. This fact is further explained in the following verse. Text 68. सर्वे क्रिय सर्वे क्रमानुरोधेन मनसीन्द्रियगोचरा अयन्ति बहुशो यान्ति सर्वसमानसो जना. Survey all Krama Anurudhena in order of chronology, Manasi in this mind, Indriya by the senses, Gochara experienced, Ayanti come, Bausha in many lives, Yanti go away, Survey all, Samanasa with a mind, Jana living entities. Translation: the mind of the living entity continues to exist in various cross bodies and according to one's desires for sense gratification, the mind records different thoughts. In the mind, these appear together in different combinations. Therefore, these images sometimes appear as things never seen or never heard. Purport: the activities of a living entity in the body of a dog may be experienced in the mind of a different body. Therefore, those activities appear never to have been heard or seen. The mind continues, although the body changes. Even in this lifespan, we can see sometimes we can sometimes experience dreams of our childhood, although such incidents now appear strange. It is to be understood that they are recorded in the mind. Because of this, they become visible in the dreams. The transmigration of the soul is caused by the subtle body, which is the storehouse of all kinds of material desires. Unless one is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, material desires will come and go. That is the nature of the mind, thinking, feeling, and willing. As long as the mind is not engaged in the meditation on the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, the mind will desire so many material enjoyments. Sensual images are recorded in the mind in chronological order, and they become manifest one after another. Therefore, the living entity has to accept one body after another. The mind plans material enjoyment, and the gross body serves as the instrument to realize such desires and plans. The mind is the platform onto which all desires come and go. Yes, Prabhu. Srila Narottama Das Thakura therefore sings, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittete Kariya Ikya Ayana Kariha Mani. Narottam Das Thakur advises everyone to stick to the principle of carrying out the orders of the spiritual master. One should not desire anything else. If the regulatory principles ordered by the spiritual master are followed rigidly, the mind will gradually be trained to desire nothing but the service of Krishna. Such training is the perfection of life. Yes, yes. Text 69. सात्विकानिष्ठे मनसि भगवत्स्पर्शवर्तिनि तमश्चन्द्रमसीदम् उपाराज्य उपाराज्यवभासते sattva ekaniष्ठे. In full Krishna consciousness, Manasi in the mind, Bhagavat with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parshvavartini being constantly associated, Tama the dark planet, Chandramasi in the moon, Iva like Idam this cosmic manifestation, Uparajya being connected, Avabhasate becomes manifest. Translation: Krishna consciousness means constantly associating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in such a mental state that the devotee can observe the cosmic manifestation exactly as the Supreme Personality of Godhead does. Such observation is not always possible, but it becomes manifest exactly like the dark planet known as Rahu, which is observed in the full presence of the moon. Purport: It has been explained in the previous verse that all desires on the mental platform become visible one after another, sometimes, however, by the supreme will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the whole stockpile can be visible all at one time. In Brahma Samhita it is said, Karmani nirdhati kintu bhakti cha bhajan. Ba- 5. Brahma Samhita 5.54. When a person is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, his stockpile of material desires is minimized. Indeed, the desires no longer fructify in the form of gross bodies. Instead, the stockpile of desires become visible on the mental platform by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this connection, the darkness occurring before the full moon, the lunar eclipse, can be explained as being another planet known as Rahu. According to Vedic astronomy, the Rahu planet, which is not visible, is accepted. Sometimes the Rahu planet is visible in the presence of the full moonlight. It then appears that this Rahu planet exists somewhere near the orbit of the moon. The failure of modern moon excursionists may be due to the Rahu planet. In other words, those who are supposed to be going to the moon may actually be going to this invisible planet Rahu. Actually, they are not going to the moon, but to the Rahu planet. And after reaching this planet, they come back. Apart from this discussion, the point is that a living entity has immense and unlimited desires for material enjoyment, and he has to transmigrate from one gross body to another until these desires are exhausted. No living entity is free from the cycle of birth and death unless he takes to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, in this verse, it is clearly stated, Satvika Nishthe, that when one is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, in one stroke one is freed of past and future mental desires. Then, by the grace of the Supreme Lord, everything becomes simultaneously manifest within the mind. In this regard, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur cites the example of Mother Yashoda seeing the whole cosmic manifestation within the mouth of Lord Krishna. By the grace of Lord Krishna, Mother Yashoda saw all the universes and planets within the mouth of Krishna. Similarly, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, a Krishna conscious person can see all his dormant desires at one time and finish all his future transmigrations. This facility is especially given to the devotee to make his path clear for returning home back to Godhead. Why we see things not experienced in this life is explained herein. That which we see is the future expression of a gross body, or is already stocked in our mental stockpile. Because a Krishna conscious person does not have to accept a future gross body. His recorded desires are fulfilled in a dream. We therefore sometimes find things in a dream never experienced in our present life. Prabhu, this purport actually I didn't get it properly.
Which part?
The
Krishna
cosmic
Bhagavan.
manifest.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna Prabhu,
Prabhu,
Jnana
Prabhu,
Pranam
Vineet
Krishna Prabhu.
Prabhu, Tada Pram, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Haribo.
Yes, Prabhu, that it is the translation I didn't get it. Prabhu.
I think this means like dovetailing the mind with Krishna's mind. So whatever he wills, the devotee has the same mentality. The common point is the same.
Yes, Prabhu.
So they see the things in the whole universe in the same vision, in the same perspective.
Yes, Prabhu.
Also, the Prabhupada gave in purport the example of Yashoda Mata, how the Yashoda Mata saw the cosmic manifestation inside Krishna, entire Brahmanda inside Krishna. So,
Yes, Prabhu.
like, yeah.
Just like that.
So Krishna also says, "Na aham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam pravartate." Everything emanates from me, and I am within everything. So this is the consciousness in which a devotee sees the cosmic manifestation. That
Yes.
this cosmic manifestation, it is inside Krishna. So this is the consciousness of devotee.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Text 70. Bhavo nahamamiti bhavoyam purushe vyavadhiyate yavat buddhimano ksarta guno vyo hya anadim man. Synonyms. Na, not aham, I, mama, mine, iti, thus, mava, consciousness. I am this. Purushe, in the living entity. Vyavadiyate is separated. Yavat, so long. Buddhi, intelligence. Mana, mind. Aksha, senses. Artha, sense objects. Guna, of the material qualities. Vyoha, a manifestation. He, certainly. Anadim, the subtle body. Existing since time immemorial. Translation: as long as there is the subtle material body, composed of intelligence, mind, senses, sense objects, and the reactions of the material qualities, the consciousness of false identification and its relative objective, the cross body, exist as well. Purport: the desires in the subtle body of mind, intelligence, and ego cannot be fulfilled without a gross body, composed of material elements earth, water, air, fire, and ether. When the gross material body is not manifest, the living entity cannot factually act in the modes of material nature. In this verse, it is clearly explained that the subtle activities of the mind and intelligence continue due to the sufferings and enjoyments of the living entity's subtle body. The consciousness of material identification, such as I and mine, still continues because such consciousness has been extant from time immemorial. However, when one transfers to the spiritual world by the virtue of understanding Krishna consciousness, the actions and reactions of both gross and subtle bodies no longer bother the spirit soul. Text 71. Sukti murchopatapeshu pranayana vigaha vighatata nehate yaham iti jnanam mrityu parshvarayorapi sukti in the deep sleep, murcha fainting, upatapeshu or in great shock, pranayana in the moment of the life where vighatata from prevention not yate thinks of aham I iti thus jnanam knowledge mrityu while dying prachvarayo or during high fever api also. Translation: when the living entity is in deep sleep, when he faints, when there is some great shock on account of severe loss at the time of death, or when the body temperature is very high, the moment of the life air is arrested At that time, the living entity loses knowledge of identifying the body with the self. Purport: foolish people deny the existence of the soul, but it is a fact that when we sleep, we forget the identity of the material body, and when we awake, we forget the identity of the subtle body. In other words, while sleeping, we forget the activities of the gross body, and when active in the gross body, we forget the activities of sleeping. Actually, both states, sleeping and waking, are creations of the illusory energy. The living entity actually has no connection with either of the activities of sleep or the activities of so-called vacant state. When a person is in deep sleep or when he has fainted, he forgets his gross body. Similarly, under chloroform or under some anesthetic, the living entity forgets his gross body and does not feel pain or pleasure during a surgical operation. Similarly, when a man is suddenly shocked by some great loss, he forgets his identification with the gross body. At the time of death, when the temperature of the body rises to 107 degrees Celsius, the living entity falls into a coma and is unable to identify his gross body. In such cases, the life air that moves within the body is choked up, and the living entity forgets his identification with the gross body. Because of our ignorance of the spiritual body, of which we have no experience, we do not know of the activities of the spiritual body. And in ignorance, we jump from one false platform to another. We act sometimes in relation to the gross body and sometimes in relation to the subtle body. If by Krishna's grace we act in our spiritual body, we can transcend both the gross and subtle bodies. In other words, we can gradually train ourselves to act in the terms of spiritual body, as stated in the Narada Pancharatra, I think. Conclude, bro. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktiruchate. Devotional service means engaging the spiritual body and the spiritual senses in the service of the Lord. When we are engaged in such activities, the actions and reactions of gross and subtle bodies cease. Text 72.
Second bro.
Garb-
Can you go back? Can you go back? Go. Traditional service means engaging the spiritual body and spiritual senses in the service of the Lord. Where do we have the spiritual body and spiritual senses? We don't possess any spiritual body and spiritual senses right now. Are you getting me?
True, the spirit soul is spiritual. So I think it
That
refers
is
to that.
okay. That is okay. What see spiritual body. Here it states that we have to engage our spiritual body and spiritual senses in the devotional service of the Lord.
Yes, Prabhu.
Rishikena, Rishikesha Sevanu, Bhakti Uchate. How can we engage our spiritual body and spiritual senses when we don't have them at all? We have material body and material senses.
Yes,
If we
Prabhu.
engage them in the service of the Lord, they will become purified, and we can
They
get
will be
more and more
spiritual.
attracted to the Lord.
Yes, Prabhu.
I'm not sure whether any connection is needed in this sentence, or whether I'm not sure whether we are missing anything in this regard.
No, Prabhu, I think. The senses
Maybe.
will be spiritualized.
Okay. In that sense, yeah, it definitely makes sense.
Yeah, Prabhupada gave always the example of the iron. When it becomes red hot, it's not material anymore, it becomes fire. So the iron becomes fire. Similarly, the material senses, when they become spiritual, then they become spiritualized fully. Then they act like fire.
By Krishna's case, we act in our spiritual body, we can transcend both the gross and subtle bodies. Okay. In other words, we can gradually train ourselves to act in terms of the spiritual. We train. We can gradually train ourselves to act
Yes.
in terms of the spiritual body. Okay, that is what it is mentioned here.
Ashra. Text 72. Garbe ballepya apauskalyat ekadasha vidham tada lingam na trishyate yona kufvam chandramaso yatha garbe in the womb balye in boyhood api also apau skalyat because of immaturity ekadasa the ten senses and the mind vidam in the form of tada at that time lingam the subtle body or false ego na not drishyate is visible yuna of a youth kuhvam during the dark moon night chandram masa the moon yatha as translation when one is a youth all the ten senses and the mind are completely visible. However, in the mother's womb or in the boyhood state, the sense organs and the mind remain covered, just as the full moon is covered by the darkness of the dark moon night. Purport: when a living entity is within the womb, his gross body, the ten sense organs, and the mind are not fully developed. At such a time, the objects of the senses do not disturb him. In a dream, a young man may experience the presence of a young woman because at that time the senses are active. Because of undeveloped senses, a child or a boy will not see a young woman in his dreams. The senses are active in youth, even when one dreams, and although there may be no young woman present, the senses may act and there may be seminal discharge, nocturnal emission. The activities of the subtle and gross bodies depend on how on a shining moon to conditions. The senses of the living entity are there, but they only become active when the gross body and the subtle body are developed. Unless the senses of the gross body are developed, they will not act on the subtle body. Similarly, because of the absence of desires in the subtle body, there may be no development in the gross body. I think that's why Prabhu, the verse is there that from the age of 5 years only we should start Krishna consciousness.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Text
can I
70,
read next?
last one Prabhu is then you can
Okay.
text 73. Ar- अर्थे हि ह्य अविद्यमानेऽपि संश्रितते ध्यायतो विषयान् अस्य स्वप्नेनार्थागमो यथा अर्थे sense objects he certainly avidyamane not being present api although samshriti material existence na never nivartate ceases dhyayata meditating vishayan and sense objects asya of the living being swapne in dream anartha of unwanted things agama appearance yatha as translation when the living entity dreams the sense objects are not actually present. However, because one has associated with these sense objects, they become manifest. Similarly, the living entity with undeveloped senses does not cease to exist materially, even though he may not be exactly in contact with the sense objects. Purport. It is sometimes said that because a child is innocent, he is completely pure. Actually, this is not the fact. The effects of fruitive activities reserved in the subtle body appear in the three concurrent stages. One is called bija, the root. Another is called kutastha, the desire, and another is called phalonmukha, about to fructify. The manifest stage is called prarabdha, already in action. In a conscious or unconscious state, the action of the subtle and gross bodies may not be manifest, but such states cannot be called the liberated state. A child may be innocent, but this does not mean that he is a liberated soul. Everything is held in reservation, and everything will become manifest in due course of time. Even in the absence of certain manifestations in the subtle body, the objects of sense enjoyment may act. The example has been given of a nocturnal emission in which the physical senses act even when the physical objects are not manifest. The three modes of material nature may not be manifest in the subtle body, but the contamination of the three modes remains conserved, and in due course of time it becomes manifest. Even if the reactions of the subtle and gross bodies are not manifest, one does not become free from material conditions. Therefore, it is wrong to say that a child is as good as liberated soul. So, Prabhu, here the subtle sense, the subtle bodies, you can take up it, little up. Here may not be manifested in the subtle body, the modes of material nature. So, what does it mean, Prabhu?
Can you repeat, Prabhu?
Here, Prabhu, in the last, in the four lines, the three modes of material nature may not be manifested in the subtle body, but the contamination of the three modes remains conserved.
Yes, Prabhu. Hmm. Wait.
Just go back to the beginning of this purport. We have to understand deeply here. Okay, it is sometimes said that because a child is innocent, he is completely pure. Actually, this is not the fact. The effects of fruitive activities reserved in the subtle body appear in three concurrent stages. Okay, bija, kutastha, pharonmukha. The manifest stage is called prarabdha. Okay. In a conscious or unconscious state, the actions of the subtle or gross bodies may not be manifest. But such states cannot be called the liberated state. A child may be innocent, but this does not mean that he is a liberated soul. Yes. Everything is held in reservation. Okay. And everything will become manifest in due course of time. See,
Hmm.
even though a child looks like innocent because he does not know anything about the karma about the karma, okay, or the effects of karma, it is not guaranteed that he will not face any consequences in due course of time because uh, the the results are not manifest yet when he's in the uh, younger age. Okay.
Yes,
Once he
Lord.
grows up, in due course of time, he grows up, and depending on the gravity of the karma he might have done in his previous lives, he will have to face all those consequences. He has to go through all the results of those karma. Okay, that is what it is being described in this purport. Okay, so sometimes people in general say that children are just like God because of their innocence. However,
Yes, Lord.
however, let us say that that statement is absolutely correct. Okay, but in that case, if he is God, why does he have to take birth in this material world? See,
Yes,
when a soul gets a material body, that means that he has to go through the effects of his karma. It can be either pious, the effects of pious karma or impious. Okay, but he has to experience whatever he might have done in his previous life.
yes,
That's
Lord.
what Prabhupada is describing in this purport, that even though children doesn't know all the factors of karma, you cannot say it, you cannot call him innocent, because he has taken birth to face all the consequences of the karma.
Yes, Lord.
Otherwise, there is no birth at all. If there is no karma, there is no bata. If there is no bija, there is no effect of it. Okay, bija means seed. If there is no seed, there is no tree or plant. Karma
Yes,
is
Lord.
just like that. Okay, whenever there is karma, there will be its consequences as well, provided the karma is done in favor of Krishna consciousness, without expecting anything as a result of it. Otherwise,
Yes, Lord.
every karma will yield in due course of time, and you have to face it.
Yes, Lord.
Similarly, modes of nature as well. Subtle body does not know what the modes of nature, but because he has done all the karma in his previous lives, the residue of the karma remains in the subtle body. That is what, or maybe contamination. Okay, here it is called as contamination, but it can be called residue as well. Okay, so that impression lies in the modes, in the subtle body,
Yes, Lord.
and it will arise as well in due course of time.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Lord. Thank you, Prabhu.
Paul, can I read next?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Text 34. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Stand Pranam Josha Prabhupada. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, Text 74. एवं पंचविधं लिङ्गं त्रिवृत्षोडशविस्तृतम् एष चेतनया युक्तो जीव अभिधीयते. Synonyms. Evam, thus, Panchavidhim, the five sense objects, Lingam, the subtle body, Trivrit, influenced by the three modes, Shodasha, 16, Vistritam, expanded, Esha, this, Chetanaya, with the living entity, Yukta, combined, Jiva, the conditioned soul, Iti, thus, Abhidhiyate, is understood. Translation. The five sense objects, the five sense organs, the five knowledge-acquiring senses, and the mind are the 16 material expansions. These combine with the living entity are influenced by the three modes of material nature. Thus, the existence of conditioned soul is understood. Okay. Purport. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतसनातनः मनः षष्ठानि इंद्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति. The living entity in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. Bhagavad Gita 15:7. Here it is also explained that the living entity comes in contact with the 16 material elements and is influenced by the three modes of material nature. The living entity and this combination of elements combine to form what is called Jiva Bhuta, the conditioned soul that struggles hard within the material nature. The total material existence is first agitated by the three modes of material nature. Total material existence, it is Mahatattva, is first agitated by the three modes of material nature, and these become the living conditions of the living entity. Thus the subtle and gross bodies develop, and the ingredients are earth, water, fire, air, sky, and so on. According to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, when consciousness, the living force in the heart, is agitated by the three modes of material nature, then the subtle body of the living entity, consisting of the mind, the sense objects, the five senses that acquire knowledge, and the five senses for acting in the material condition, becomes possible. Text 75. Anena purusho dehan upadhati vimunchati harsham shokam bhayam dukkham sukham chanena vindati. Anena, by this process, Purusha, the living entity, Dehan, gross bodies, Upadate, achieves, Vimunchati, gives up, Harsham, enjoyment, Shokam, lamentation, Bhayam, fear, Dukham, unhappiness, Sukham, happiness, Cha, also Anena, by the gross body, Vindati, enjoys. Translation. By virtue of the processes of the subtle body, the living entity develops and gives up gross body. This is known as the transmigration of the soul. Thus, the soul becomes subjected to different types of so-called enjoyment, lamentation, fear, happiness, and unhappiness. Purport. According to this explanation, one can clearly understand that originally the living entity was as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his pure spiritual existence. However, when the mind becomes polluted by desires for sense gratification in the material world, the living entity drops into the material conditions, as explained in this verse. Thus he begins his material existence, which means that he transmigrates from one body to another and becomes more and more entangled in material existence. The process of Krishna consciousness, by which one can always think of Krishna, is the transcendental process by which one can revert to his original spiritual existence. Devotional service means always thinking of Krishna. Man mana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijani priyoshime. Always think of me and become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise to you, because you are my very dear friend. 1865 Bhagavad Gita. One should always engage in the Lord's devotional service, as recommended in the Archana Marga. One should worship the deity in the temple and constantly offer obeisances to the spiritual master and the deity. These processes are recommended to one who actually wants to become free from material entanglement. Modern psychologists can study the actions of the mind, thinking, feeling, and willing, but they are unable to go deep into the matter. This is due to their lack of knowledge and to their not being associated with a liberated acharya. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, evam parampara praptam imam rajarsiyo vidu sakale nehamata yogo nashta parantapa. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic successions, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. Bhagavad Gita 4:2. Guided by so-called psychologists and philosophers, people in the modern age do not know the activities of the subtle body and thus cannot understand what is meant by the transmigration of the soul. In these matters, we have to take the authorized statements of Bhagavad Gita. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantarah praptir dhirastatra na muhyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Bhagavad Gita 2.13. Unless all human society understand this important verse in Bhagavad Gita, civilization will advance in ignorance and not in knowledge. Text 76 and 77. Yatha trinajalokeyam napat अपयाति च न त्यज्येन म्रियमाणोऽपि प्राग्देहाभिमतिं जना यावद् अन्यं न विद्येत व्यवधानेन कर्मणां मन एव मनुष्येन्द्र भूतानां भवभावनम्. Yatha, as Trinajaluka, caterpillar, evam, this, na apyati, does not go, apyati, goes, cha, also, na, not, tyajet, gives up, mriyamana, at the point of death, api, even, prak, former, deha, with the body, abhimatim, identification, jana, a person, yavat, so long as, anyam, another, no, not, vindeta, obtains, vyavadhanena, by the termination, karmanam, of fruitive activities, mana, the mind, eva, certainly, manushya indra, o ruler of the men, bhutanam, of all living entities, bhava, of material existence, bhavanam, the cause. Translation: the caterpillar transports itself from one leaf to another by capturing one leaf before giving up the other. Similarly, according to his previous work, the living entity must capture another body before giving up the one he has. This is because the mind is the reservoir of all kinds of desires. So our next body, is it already determined? Here, like, just that the caterpillar, he first hold on to the another leaf.
It is determined by your current actions and the desires in your mind.
Yes,
It is
Prabhu.
said, no, like,
You
at
are
the end of
already,
life,
in fact, we are
at the end of
already
life,
preparing our next body right
yeah.
now.
Yes, Prabhu. When we die, the body is ready. Then it has been decided. When you leave the current body, the new body is decided.
Yeah, and the source of the next body is your current actions and desires.
Yes, Prabhu.
I thought it is decided at the point of death,
No,
right?
no, it will be decided, but how will it be decided? What is the primary factor for the decision? Your current activities, current actions, and the desires you have in your mind.
Yes, Prabhu. It's like the contract is being created. First, the contract paper is made, then all the points are presented there. Then at the end, it's signed.
But then we
You know,
have the story of Ajamila, who lived all his life mostly doing sinful activities. Then at the last moment, something happened. He chanted
yes,
Narayan and he got human body, not body of animal or not in hellish life. So
That's why see at the time of death, okay, you have to think something. Okay, you can think the Krishna or something else. Okay,
yeah.
so your thought process at the time of your death is dependent on your actions that you have done throughout your life. That is what is meant by saying that your actions and desires will destine your next body.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, That's
Yeah,
the reason
just
why
like this king, right?
that
So
is the
this,
reason why it is clearly stated in all the scriptures that you have to become a devotee of the Lord, so that you, if you practice the devotional service, when your body is fit, you will be able to remember the Lord at the time of death, so that you will not take birth again in this material world.
yeah,
Bhagavad Gita 4 sorry 8 8 5 and 8 6. Can you go to 8 5 and 8 6, Prabhu? It might be 8 6 and 8 7 maybe. Yam yam
Antakale cha mameva, yam
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 bhakti
vapis
smar. Yeah,
the
yeah,
next one. Yam yam vapis smaran bhavam tyan tante kalevaram tam tamevaiti kaunteya tata sada tatbhava bhavitaha. Okay, whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. When will he attain? In the next life, in the form of
yeah,
another body.
yeah.
Go to the next verse. This is 8 6. Maybe 8 5. Go to 8 5. Antakale cha mameva smaran mukta kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam yati nastyastra sanchayah. 8 5, Prabhu. 8.5. Yes. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, remembering Lord Krishna alone, at once attains Lord Krishna's nature. Of this, there is no doubt. Okay, but at the same time, at the same point of time, we have to remember that it is not so easy to remember Lord Krishna at the time of quitting the body,
Yeah.
because we may be suffering due to some disease. We may be in coma as well, where there is no consciousness.
Yeah, that's why it is said, na, that life is like preparation and death is like final examination.
Exactly. What is the
So,
preparation for?
yeah,
Preparation for
yeah,
next life.
yeah.
Prabhus, can I
So,
read?
Yes,
yeah,
preparation for
please,
next
please.
life, and that preparation is nothing but the actions that you are performing right now.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yes, Prabhu.
we can't just do all nonsense throughout our life and expect that we'll think of Krishna at the end moment and it will be successful. We'll go to Krishna.
Yes, yes,
Preparation is also needed. Yeah,
yes.
we can't cheat Krishna. No, Krishna is the
That is why,
best.
see, there are three
Yeah,
types of karmas. Okay, bija. Okay, I think in the previous
yeah,
previous purport we have read that bija. Okay, that means we have done something which has not fructified now. That means it
mhm,
is still in the initial stage, which is called bija, seed. Once it gets fructified, it will become either a plant or a tree. Then you have to face the reactions of the action that you have done. So it will become prarabdha. When once it becomes prarabdha, you will not be able to reverse it. You have to experience it. You have to go through it.
Yes, Prabhu.
That is called prarabdha. That is called prarabdha karma. I hope it is clear now.
yes. Lebong Prabhu can read text 78.
Haribo. Like, should I read? Where were you at the purport, Prabhu? Oh, where were you?
Oh yeah, the purport is
Yeah, we did read the purport.
complete purport. Yeah.
Okay, should I start? Purport.
Yes, bro, please,
A living
please.
a living entity too much absorbed in material activities becomes very much attracted to the material body, even at the point of death. Sorry, Prabhu.
Even at the point of death, he thinks of his present body and the relatives connected to it. Thus, he remains fully absorbed in the bodily conception of life, so much so that even at the point of death, he abhors leaving his present body. Sometimes it is found that a person on the verge of death remains in a coma for many days before giving up their body. This is common among so-called leaders and politicians who think that without their presence, the entire country and all society will be in chaos. This is called Maya. Political leaders do not like to leave their political posts, and they either have to be shot by an enemy or obliged to leave by the arrival of death. By superior arrangement, a living entity is offered another body, but because of his attraction to the present body, he does not like to transfer himself to another body. Thus, he is forced to accept another body by the laws of nature. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani saravasyaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by nature. Bhagavad Gita 3.27. Material nature is very strong, and the material modes force one to accept another body. This force is visible when the living entity transmigrates from a superior body to an inferior one. One who acts like a dog or a hog in the present body will certainly be forced to accept the body of a dog or a hog in the next life. A person may be enjoying the body of a prime minister or a president, but when he understands that he will be forced to accept the body of a hog or a dog or a hog, he chooses not to leave the present body. Therefore, he lies in a coma many days before death. Oh, Nelson Mandela. This has been experienced by many politicians at the time of death. The conclusion is that the next body is already determined by superior control. The living entity immediately gives up the present body and enters another. Sometimes in the present body, the living entity feels that many of his desires and imaginations are not fulfilled. Those who are overly attracted to their life situation are forced to remain in a ghostly body and are not allowed to accept another gross body. Even in the body of a ghost, they create. So, Prabhu, one thing, the ghost it's like they have advantage over us, right? They can, I don't know what to say, like maybe put us into trouble, something like that, bewilder us in
Yes,
some way. So, but
yes,
then
but that is
why do they
no,
have why
but
do they
that
have
is
so much
not an
power over us?
advantage, bro. That is not an advantage because when you have a ghost body, first of all, you have to go through the suffering of not fulfilling your thirst and hunger.
Yes,
In
Prabhu.
other
But
words, you cannot have food or water to subdue your thirst and hunger.
yes,
So
Prabhu, you're always in hunger
in
and
trouble.
thirst.
So how can you call it as an advantage?
It's like they can bewilder us like in so many ways, Prabhu. Like maybe, they like let's say their appearance can bewilder us, maybe by seeing. Some
Yes,
people
Prabhu, they
say some
they have
people say that
stronger.
they can make you lose your direction. Like let's say you're going from here to somewhere to a certain place, you could lose your direction, but then that is part of mental speculation. I did not see that in the Vedic literature. I'm just speaking in common, like people, the way people know ghosts. So I was saying, how can they bother us instead of us being able to bother them? That's the advantage I was speaking about, not the actual lives. Like as soon as the sun leaves, they come to us, right? Something like that. Maybe not every day. I'm not sure about that. Can you please explain more on that?
No, in fact, you see, they are ghosts. Okay, they are not better than us. They may
Yes,
have
yes, bro.
some mystic. They may have some mystic powers. Like
They're
they
stronger
can.
in mind.
Sorry, brother.
They're stronger in mind. Their output of the mind is stronger.
Oh, the
Because
output of the mind is.
yeah, because you have the gross body that you live through. You experience everything through your senses and this body that you see. And if you ask anyone that what is your body, everyone will say this gross body is my body. So we
Yes,
experience
yes, bro.
everything through this one. But the ghost experiences through everything to the mind. So he has a stronger hold of the mind as a substance. So they can also
Oh,
influence our mind. If there's someone who is not in control of his own mind or his
Oh,
mind
yes,
is
yes,
let
yes.
loosely, especially under intoxication and things like this, then the ghost can easily take a hold of his mind and do whatever with the mind, because they are on more in the mental platform.
Oh, yes, yes, Prabhu. And I remember, oh, like, wasn't there a quote? You remind me of a quote that said Lord Krishna actually made demons to not have physical bodies in Kali Yuga, something like this, so that they may bewilder us just in the mind. And then we will only have the choice, as part of our tool that we choose to do or to refrain. But then they still, it's still, and then now it takes me back to the material modes of nature. It's like you still have a choice, but then, hey, I think I feel like the choice that you have, it depends on the modes. You might want to do good. Sometimes I feel like you want to do good, but then it's like you are forced, as if engaged by force into committing that sin. Like for in this case, like look at the mother of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. As a good, she was a good, like, devoted lady, right? She was not like demoniac, or was she?
Yes, Prabhu.
That's why,
Karibo.
Prabhu, your mind, okay, the actions depend on your mind, and the way your mind thinks about anything is dependent on the kind of association you are always engaged in. Okay, that's the
Oh,
reason why
yes, yes, Prabhu.
you have to change your association in case you are in a bad association right now, because that association will affect your mind, and your mind will direct the senses to perform some activity, okay, some karma. Okay,
Oh, yes, yes, Prabhu.
it can be impious as well, and due to that impious karma you will have to face the reaction,
Oh, yes, yes, Prabhu. Oh,
and you will
actually,
get the
Prabhu,
you will
is it?
get the ghostly body because of the modes of nature, because you might have something done, you have done something, some karma in that mode of nature, and as a consequence of it you have to gain a ghostly body in the
Oh,
next life.
yes, yes, Prabhu. Oh, yes, yes, Prabhu. Sometimes, Prabhu, I feel like the mind is like the manager, and then your consciousness, like your awareness, it's like the CEO. As soon as the CEO is absent, the manager does whatever he wants, like the mind. It's like when you are immediately when you just lose 1 second, 2 seconds, you get deviated to something. As soon as you forget the lotus feet of the Lord,
Yes, Prabhu,
it's like you
mind is
just get.
always, see, if you look at the picture, a picture depicted uh, on the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so the picture is like there is a chariot, and there are five horses, and there is a
The
rain
senses, yes.
controlled by or held by Lord Krishna. Okay, so here
Yes,
all
yes,
those
Prabhu.
five horses are nothing but your senses. Okay, and
Yes, yes,
there is
Prabhu.
a rain as well. Okay, rain is nothing but your mind, and
Yes, yes,
which
Prabhu.
that mind should be controlled by your soul.
Yes, yes, Prabhu. Yeah, and one thing about Kurukshetra, Prabhu, that the forming of armies, like those total numbers, Prabhu, was it the doings of the Lord, or like how is it scientifically aligned? When you count the people, the days of so many people being killed, like in just 18 days, like was it like a planning? Like was it like scientific
Yes,
planning? Because you see,
yes,
like now you're telling me about five horses, and then we can refrain and say, okay, the horses were actually the senses.
No,
You
Prabhu.
know?
in fact, the answer to your question is actually described in Mahabharata. Okay. In fact, if
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Krishna had wanted to kill all of the armies well in advance, he would have done it. But his plan was totally different. He wanted to place every sinful person on the battlefield, and should be killed by him and the Pandavas,
Oh,
of the
yes, yes,
armies
Prabhu.
armies of the Pandavas.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
Prabhu.
it was the divine plan.
Oh, yes, yes, Prabhu. Yes. Ribu. Those who are overly attracted, oh, where was I? Those who are overly attracted to their life situation are forced to remain in a ghost. Sorry, Prabhu. Were you saying something?
No problem.
Okay. Costly body are not allowed to accept another gross body. Even in the body of a ghost, they create disturbances for neighbors and relatives. The mind is the prime cause of such a situation. According to one's mind, different types of bodies are generated and one is forced to accept them. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajati ante kale varam tam tam eva iti kaunteya sattat bhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Bhagavad Gita 8.6. Within one's body and mind, one can think as either a dog or a god, and the next life is offered to him accordingly. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita. I remember asking my mom, "What do you want to be in the next life?" He just said, "I want to go to a rich family, the richest family." I was like, "Oh, okay." Bhagavad Gita, Purushaha Prakti Stohi Bhungte Prakti Jana Gunan Karanam Guna Sangosya Sat Asat Yoni Janmasu Purusha Prakti Stohi. Yo, that first part. Can go down, Prabhu. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life. Enjoy the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil amongst various species. Bhagavad Gita 13.22. The living entity may transmigrate to either a superior or inferior body according to his association with the modes of material nature. If he associates with the mode of ignorance, he gets the body of an animal or an inferior man. But if he associates with the mode of goodness or passion, he gets a body accordingly. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Urdavam gachanti satvasta madhye tishtati rajasaha jaganyaguna vritistaha adho gajanti tamasaha. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go up to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the mode of ignorance go down to the hellish world. Bhagavad Gita 14.18. The root cause of one's association is the mind. This great Krishna consciousness movement is the greatest boon to human society because it is teachings. It is teaching everyone to think always of Krishna by executing devotional service. In this way, at the end of life, one may be transferred to the association of Krishna. This is technically called Nitya Leela, Pravishtam, entering into the planet Goloka Vrindavan. Bhagavad Gita explained, Bhaktyamam Abhijananti Yavana Yaschamsi Tatvataha Tato Mam Tatvato Gyatva Vishate Tat Anantaram. One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Bhagavad Gita 18.55. After the mind is completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness, one can enter the planet known as Goloka Vrindavan. To enter the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one has to understand the process of understanding Krishna is devotional service. After understanding Krishna as he is, one can become eligible to enter Krishna Loka and associate with him. The mind is the cause of such an exalted position. The mind can also get a body like dogs and hogs. To absorb the mind always in Krishna consciousness is therefore the greatest perfection of human life. Prabhu, I'm thinking in my mind, I just have a rascal thought. I was like, you know the glasses, Prabhu, the Samsung glasses, where you think you are inside the game.
Yes, Prabhu.
Like you see them. I think like it should have been like that, Whereas when you get bored of material nature, you just remove the glasses.
Yes, Prabhu, it's like that.
So no, but then
Scroll slowly.
but
Can you go up a little bit where the weakness of the mind is mentioned here, somewhere above.
Yeah, I think I read about it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
One's
the
mind,
mind
different
is the
types of
prime.
body.
Yeah, see, where is it?
Yeah, you're correct,
Gosh.
Prabhu. The mind is the prime cause.
The mind is the prime cause of such a such a situation. According to one's mind, different types of bodies are generated, and one is forced to accept them. Uh, Somewhere I have read that weakness of the mind as well. We scroll down a little bit.
Go up.
Within one's body and mind, one can think as either a dog or a god, and the next life is offered to them accordingly.
Isn't it up, Prabhu?
Yeah, maybe.
So maybe Prabhu can go up a little. Yeah. This is one who acts like a dog or hog.
Hog in the present body will certainly be forced to accept the body of a dog or a hog. Scroll down to
Isn't it after the sloka of Bhagavad Gita?
yeah.
Just slightly below where you were reading.
Person may be enjoying the body of a prime minister or a president.
The root cause of one's association is the mind, or
The root cause of one's association is the mind. This great Krishna consciousness movement is the greatest boon to human society because it is anyhow, see, whatever weakness you have is you have it in your mind, bro. Okay, it is also described in the Bhagavad Gita, second chapter. Somewhere maybe fourth or fifth sloka. Okay, Klaibyam Masma Gamatpata Naitatva Upadyate Shudram Hridaya Daurbalyam. That is called Hridaya Daurbalyam, the weakness of the heart. Hridaya Daurbalyam Tyaktyottishta Parantapa. Okay, so when you are afraid of ghosts, okay,
yes, Prabhu.
ghosts will control you when you have a weak mind.
Oh, they cannot.
That's the reason why,
only when.
that's the reason why you should have a strong mind. You should be courageous enough to deal with the ghosts. Provided in case they appear in front of, most of the time they don't appear in front of you, Prabhu. Okay. Most of the time.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. But in the worst cases, due to your weakness in your mind, okay, they will take control of you. They will try to threaten you.
Oh, yes, Prabhu.
Okay, that's the reason why you should have a strong mind. And strong mind can be achieved only by
Chanting.
Krishna consciousness. Okay, only by chanting. Yes, exactly.
Yes, Prabhu.
That's why ghosts are afraid of the God's names.
Oh, yes, Prabhu. But not demons, ne? Demons are not afraid.
Demon is different category. Okay, that is a different category. They are not ghosts. Demons have a material body. Demons have a material body.
Oh, like it can be like even in a lineage.
Exactly. These are the Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Ravana, Kumbhakarna.
Oh, yes,
they're all demons, not ghosts. Ghosts are totally different.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. It seems as if, I remember, each and every demon mentioned in Krishna consciousness, it's like they are all delivered, right?
Exactly.
I remember we were speaking. Yes,
exactly,
Prabhu.
because they have a gross body. Ghosts have a subtle body.
Yes, Prabhu.
That's the reason why they can't appear to your naked eyes.
Yes, Prabhu. So, like, ghost can be like Maya coming to you in another form. Could we say that? Like, maybe
no.
it cannot be Maya's doing.
Ghost is a separate living entity, totally different living entity.
No, like not like that, Prabhu. I understand that. I was saying, could it be like Maya was the, what can I say? Like, let's say maybe when Lord Krishna comes, he can come as Vyasadeva to come teach the, what do you call it? To teach Vedanta. So I was saying with the ghostly form, since Maya is the one that actually does everything, like that bewilders one. If you are not focused on Bhakti Yoga, like it's the one that removes you to go to materialism, right?
There is no comparison between the ghost and Maya.
There's no
Comparison. There is no comparison between the two of them.
Oh yes, Prabhu. Okay, Prabhu.
They are totally different. Ghost is a separate living entity, and it is controlled by Maya as well, depending on its previous modes of nature. Okay, ghosts are mostly in a mode of ignorance.
Yeah. But then it's not. I don't. Do you think it's possible to be a ghost and then be in the mode of passion, Prabhu? Like, how? What are you going to be
No,
passionate with?
no, not at all.
Oh, yes.
Not that they are totally in mode of ignorance. They might have a little bit of mode of passion, but mostly most of mode of ignorance.
Oh yes, Prabhu.
See, we have a human body. Does it mean that we don't have any modes? We have mixed modes. We have all the three modes mixed up
Yes, Prabhu.
at different intervals of time. We are reading Bhagavatam right now. That means we are in the mode of goodness.
Oh yes, Prabhu. Yes.
If you are doing
That I
something
understand.
else at this point of time, you are in the mode of nature.
Oh yes, Prabhu. And Prabhu, I wanted to like kirtan. Does kirtan does it have a higher level to meditation? Like you see, like let's say books are equal to chanting, right? When you read Prabhupada books, it is equal to chanting, right? So I wanted to know about Sankirtan. When you do Kirtan, like or listening to Kirtan, like besides doing book distribution or what, just engaging in it.
Yes.
Maybe you sing at the altar.
Yes, you can listen as well. So that means you are in either mode of goodness or maybe transcendent to it. Okay. Because when you are associating with the Lord or Lord's names, you are in the transcendental mode of nature, not material mode of nature.
Oh yes, Prabhu.
Okay, you are totally beyond the material modes of nature.
Yes, okay, yes, Prabhu. Understood, Prabhu. Should I continue?
Yes, please. I think
Semi Prabhu, we are going, it's like 2 hours now. I saw that you started the reading session 5 to what? 5 to 5.
1 hour. Where we are?
Sorry, bro.
We finish 1 hour maybe.
No.
there are
You did it 1 hour.
89 slokas in this chapter. So 85 plus 4 additional slokas as well, 89.
Yeah.
There is a note after
Semi
85th
Prabhu,
sloka.
Yes,
Prabhu,
Prabhu.
please send me, Semi Prabhu, Rushikesh Prabhu, Praveen Prabhu, Pranjal Prabhu, any pastimes or scriptures that we can use for Bhakti Vinod Tagore, please send it, Prabhu. Because I have been trying to find them, I only found Srila Prabhupada's, I think it was an recorded audio, but then I found it as text where he was talking about the appearance day, but then it's too short for like the reading session. So I don't know, like, because you said we must not go to his books, right? Directly his books.
No, what do you want? What do you want any biography of Bhaktivinoda Thakur?
Yes, but I just want like something more that we can read about, because I have small pastimes about him, and then I just want to add more so that we can cover the time. Maybe we can also maybe a bhajan, I don't know, but then I don't know how to sing. Actually directed to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Maybe any references that we can use, Prabhu, and then I'll compile some PDF.
I need to check, bro. I don't know whether anything is available online about Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
What do you, Semi Prabhu, what way normally do you read, like yearly? What did we read last year?
Some small books, but Bhagavad Gita we read last year.
Oh, yes, Prabhu. No, I was saying in line with the appearance day of Bhaktivinoda Tagore.
What, Prabhu?
In line with the appearance day, like last year, what did we do?
Oh, I forgot, Prabhu.
Yeah. But then I think it was recorded, right? Maybe I could
Yeah.
go back to Hare Krishna and go check.
I think it's recorded. Okay, let's read 2 more verses.
Oh, yes. No, Prabhu, I did not finish I was at the Bhaktya, the previous sloka.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the last paragraph. One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service, and when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Bhagavad Gita 18.55. Oh, did I complete this? Nah. After the mind is completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness, one can enter the planet known as Goloka Vrindavan. To enter the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one has to understand Krishna. The process of understanding Krishna is devotional service. I think we read this. After understanding Krishna as he is, one can become eligible to enter Krishna Loka and associate with him. Yeah, I think we read. The mind is the cause of such an exalted position. The mind can also get a body like dogs and hogs. To absorb the mind always in Krishna consciousness is therefore the greatest perfection of human life. Yadakshais charitandayayan karmani achundeshayo karmani achinute sakrit sati karmani avidayayam bandaha karmani anantamana. Semi Prabhu, please help with the tune. I'm lost. Yadakshais charantadaya. That dayayan, it's killing me. Double Y. Yadais charintandayayan karmani achinute sakrat sati karmani avidayayam. Semi Prabhu, do you have a tune? Oh, Pravin Prabhu. Oh, Dheeraj Prabhu.
Charitam dhyayan karmanya shinute sakrit sati karmanya vidyayam pantah karmanyanatmana.
Yo, Pandit. It wants Pandit, this one. Haribo. Maharaj Semi Prabhu ki jai.
Oh, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Who is Maharaj Karti Prabhu? Yada, when Akshayi by the senses, Charitan, pleasures enjoyed, Dayayan, thinking of Karmani, activities, Ati Nute, performs as sacred, always, Sati Karmani, when material affairs continue, Avi Dayayam, under illusion, Bandaha, bondage, Karmani, inactivity, Anantatmanaha, of the material body. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Is this my first sloka, Prabhu, that I'm reading? Right?
Yeah, first one.
Yeah, because I can see purport by His Divine Grace.
Second one,
Meaning.
maybe second one.
Second one.
Yeah.
Now, the one I think I started at the purport, or did I? Okay,
No.
but I think it's the second one. Yeah, second one. Wow. Okay. Translation: as long as we desire to enjoy sense gratification, we create material activities. When the living entity acts in the material field, he enjoys the senses. And while enjoying the senses, he creates another series of material activities. In this way, the living entity becomes entrapped as a conditioned soul. Purport. So, Prabhu, if you're is it possible, like conditioned souls, even an Uttamadikari is a conditioned soul? Could we say that, or is it offensive? Excluding, like, let's say Prabhupada, right? Srila Prabhupada, like, let's say
They are not conditions. They are not conditions. If a person is a conditioned soul, then he's not called Uttamadhikari.
Oh, yes, because I think I heard it somewhere that we are all conditioned souls, even if we are in the mode of goodness, something like that.
No, you can call Madhyamadhikari and Kanishtadhikaris as conditioned souls.
Oh, yes, yes,
But
okay.
not
Not an
Uttamadhikari.
Uttama. Okay,
Because
they've reached the stage.
Uttamadhikari he can be a guru as well. Okay, so he can
Yes, sir.
guide other disciples. So a guru cannot be in a conditioned soul, in a
Yes, sir.
conditioned state of
My
nature.
offense 3, not an ordinary person.
Yes.
Sakshat Dridvena Samasta Shastre. Okay.
Exactly. Yes.
As long as we should I restart it? As long as we desire to enjoy sense gratification, we create material activities. When the living entity acts in the material field, he enjoys the senses. And while enjoying the senses, he creates another series of material activities. In this way, the living entity becomes trapped as a conditioned soul. Purport: while in the subtle body, we create many plans to enjoy sense gratification. These plans are recorded in the spool of one's mind as bija, lata bija. As bija, the root of fruitive activities. In conditional life, the living entity creates a series of bodies, one after another, and this is called karma bandhana. As explained in the Bhagavad Gita, yagnartat karma no nyatra lokayam karma bandhana tad artam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain unattached and free from bondage. Bhagavad Gita 3.9. If we act only for the satisfaction of Vishnu, there is no bondage due to material activity. If we act otherwise, we become entrapped by one material activity after another. In these circumstances, it is to be supposed that by thinking, feeling, and willing, we are creating a series of future material bodies. In the words of Bhaktivinoda Thakura, Anandi Kara Ma Pale Padi Bavar Nava Jale. The living entity falls into the ocean of karma bandhana. As a result of past material activities, instead of plunging oneself into the ocean of material activity, one should accept material activity only to maintain body and soul together. The rest of one's time should be devoted to engaging in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In this way, one can attain relief from the reactions of material activity. Can I go for another one?
Yes, Prabhu.
Text 79. Text 79. Atastad apavadartam bhaja sarvatmana harim pashyamstad atmakam vishvam stiti uptati. You see, when I see double Y, I go crazy, bro. Stiti uppati apyayata. You cannot make a tone with double Y. It's double Y, double A. Yeah.
There is double Y there, bro. I can't see a double
So,
Y.
okay, not combined, bro. Like when I see Y, double Y on one word. Sorry for saying double. They're not combined, by the way. Double Y A.
Yeah. It's yeah.
Yeah. Apya. Okay. Synonyms: ataha, therefore, that, apavada, artam, to counteract. Bhaja, engage in devotional service. Sarvatmana, with all your senses. Harim, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pashan, seeing that of the Lord. Atmakam, under the control. Vishvam, the cosmic manifestation. Sthiti, maintenance. Upati, creation. Apya, yaha, and annihilation. Yata, from whom? Translation. You should always know that. Okay, this one is the last. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Gita. You should always know that this cosmic manifestation is created, maintained, and annihilated by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, everything within the cosmic manifestation is under the control of the Lord. To be enlightened by this perfect knowledge, one should always engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord. There's actually this AI, what do you call this problem? These small cartoons, you see, that where they took like baby Krishna and then baby Lord Shiva, and then it's like Lord Shiva is asking Lord Vishnu actually, why are you always sleeping? And then Lord Vishnu said, because I'm saving energy. And then Lord Vishnu asked Lord Shiva, why are you always sitting still? And then Lord Shiva said, if I start dancing, it's like people cannot stop. Like, I don't know, it's like we are irritated. We also dance, something like that. So it is actually, it's like related to the, what do you call this? The maintenance, annihilation, and the creation stage. But I'll try to find it.
You can finally share with me, but not sure whether it is a
Sorry,
comic
Prabhu?
show, whether it is a comic show, only to generate laughs.
Oh, yes, Prabhu. Because I remember, yeah, it was also written a comedy, what cartoon. Okay, where was I? Purport, right?
Yes.
Purport, self-realization, understanding oneself as Brahman or spirit soul is very difficult in the material condition. However, if we accept the devotional service of the Lord will gradually reveal himself. In this way, the progressive devotee will gradually realize his spiritual position. We cannot see anything in the darkness of night, not even our own selves. Yeah, it reminds me of me. But when there is sunshine, we can see not only the sun, but everything within the world as well. Lord Krishna explains in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Maya asakta mana partha yogam yunjan mad ashraya asamshayam samagramam yata yasi tak Churunu, churunu. Yeah, something like that. Yunyan. Prabhu, is that Yunyan, eh? Kapo, is it Union. Jana, Yunyan. Yogam, Yunyan. Is it you? Yeah, Yunyan. Yunyan. Like Janawar. Yunjan. Oh, it's Gyan. Oh, Gyan when the N is in front of the A. Yunjan. I was saying Yunyan, like Chinese, Yunyan, Shushan. Okay, now here, O son of Parth, Arjuna, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full. We engage ourselves in the devotional service of the Lord to become Krishna conscious. We understand not only Krishna, but everything related to Krishna. In other words, through Krishna consciousness, we can understand not only Krishna and the cosmic manifestation, but also our constitutional position in Krishna consciousness. We can understand that the entire material creation is created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, maintained by Him, annihilated by Him, and absorbed in Him. We are also part and parcels of the Lord. Everything is under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Can go down, Prabhu. The Lord, and therefore our only duty is to surrender unto the Supreme and engage in His transcendental loving service. Haribo, Maitreya Vacha.
Haribo, thank you so much, Prabhu.
Haribo, Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhava Mahadavagninivapanam Shreya Kaivachandrika Vitaranam Vidya Vadu Jivanam Anandam Burde Vardhanam Pratiparam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vichayate Shri Krishna Sankirtana Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti Stadrar Pitanya Smaranena Kalaha Edadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mama Pi Durudaiva Metrishame Haijina Noragra Trinadapi Sunichena Tarovapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtanya Sada Hari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Gavitam Vajagadishaka Mae Mama Janmani Janmanishware Pavata Bhakti Ahe Toki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddho Kripaya Dvavapada Pankaja Stitaduli Satrishim Vichintaya Nayanam Galadas Srudaraya, Vadanam Gadarudaya, Gira Pulakairena Chitam Vapukada, Davana Magrahani Bhavishyati. Yuga itam nimishena chakshusha pravishaitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahe name. Asisleva parathampinashtuma madarshanam marmam hatam karotuva yata tata vavida tulan pato mat pranatastu sa evanarpana. Glories to the Shri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart. Glories to the Shri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtana movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Almighty Lord, your holy name alone can render all benedictions to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. They are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy names, but I'm so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree devoid of all sense of false prestige and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal savior, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and praise me as one of the atoms of your lotus feet. Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly? When I chant your holy name, when will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on, and at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly in his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord. Shikshastaka ki jai, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Lord Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Panchatattva ki jai.
Jai.
Bahu Janma Kare Yadi Shravana Bahu Janma Kare Yadi Shravana Kirtana Tabutana Paya Krishna Pade Premadana. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many births, he will not get the love of Godhead. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The offenses against the chanting of the holy name are as follows. The first offense, to blaspheme the devotees who've dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Second offense, to consider the names of the demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Third offense is to disobey the orders of the spiritual master or thinking him as an ordinary person. Fourth offense, to blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in preference to the Vedic version. I'm used to that old one, Prabhu. Fifth offense, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. Sixth offense, to give some interpretation of the holy name of the Lord. Seventh offense, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. Eighth offense, to commit sinful, no, not sinful, to consider the chant, okay, wait, I'm at the seventh offense, right? Or is it eighth offense? I think it's 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the special ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda. 9th offense, to instruct the faithless persons about the glories of the holy name. 10th offense, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. One should. Okay, every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhaya vacha putitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha.
Namo
Ananta
Namaha.
Vaishnava Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Jai
Namacharya
Namacharya
Srila
Srila
ki jai.
Jai
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai
Jai
Go Premanande Hari Hari Go.
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you,
So much,
Prabhu.
Prabhu, for association and the